Last time on Batman No Man's Land, right here at Comicstorian. The city of Gotham was separated from the rest of the world by having its bridges blown up and its supply routes cut off. This turned Gotham into a no man's land, where all of the villains took up various locations with Gotham, turning it into a basically supervillain gang war. Batman went missing at first, but he eventually returned, trying to figure out a way to handle the no man's land situation, creating his own Bat Gang. During this series of short stories, we have seen the new Batgirl, Azrael on his own mission, and even discovered what's been happening with the Joker, Two-Face, and Penguin and those individuals. All of that is in the playlist down below, but today we're going to be continuing our coverage of No Man's Land. With turf wars becoming more and more of an everyday thing, there are few who try to stop its destructive nature from claiming one of the last glimmers of hope. Batgirl fights against a group of thugs from the Zsasz gang, but the more that she knocks them down, the more get back up to replace them. The hours, they feel like days. With no shortage of gang members, Batgirl is forced to retreat. The gang cheers in their victory, and the first order of business is to mark their new territory. But as one of the thugs goes to spray a house, he finds himself at the other end of a gun. The older man tells the thug to get away, and the thug runs back to his friends. And that older man is Sergeant William S. Riley, known around the neighborhood as Sarge. Sarge never takes kindly to trespassers. Sarge lived in this neighborhood, this very house, longer than anyone can remember. When development started, Sarge built his house from the ground up, and he and his wife lived happily together. The only thing that was missing was children. Thankfully, the neighborhood had children to spare, and Sarge adopted them as his own. Especially kids like little Stevie down the block, whose own parents didn't have much time for him. The house had become a home. Despite everything changing, nothing and no one would ever make him leave. But of course, when fending off any gang member, they always come back tenfold. The Zsasz gang returned and demanded that Sarge pay tribute with food for his disrespectful actions earlier. Sarge thought about it as he looked over the neighborhood. If he fought back, would they follow his example? Or would his death only prove its futility? With little choice left, Sarge agreed to let the raiders take what food he had in his home. After they left, he looked at his destroyed home. Fridge cleaned out, drawers scattered about, they took it all. Or so they thought. He pulls back on the undisturbed rug on the floor and opens up a hatch underneath. Inside was all the food a person could need to survive in a place known as No Man's Land. The neighborhood had seen so many changes over the years. People had come and went. Houses were replaced by large businesses, but no matter what, Sarge would always stay. And one night, Sarge noticed the drug dealers were peddling their wares. The thing that caught his eye, though, was one of the buyers. It was little Stevie, all grown up. Sarge chased the drug dealer away with his gun, and with disappointment, he told Stevie to go home. Sarge wasn't scared of some shady people. He fought in wars. He watched as one group of bad men were replaced by another. The Blue Boys, former Gotham City cops, tried to create some law, but the Killer Croc gang ran them out. Next were the Street Devils chasing out the Killer Croc gang. Except when they demanded tribute from him, Sarge paused as he held his gun up. He knew one of those thugs. It was Stevie. He lowered his gun, telling Stevie that if he wanted to get past him, he would have shot. But they both know that he won't do that. But Stevie's friend pushed him to shoot, and as Stevie held his gun up, he trembled. Before Stevie could do anything, a group of thugs from the Joker gang jump in, and they gun down both Stevie and his friend. And once that shooting stops, the Joker himself walks in, stating, "I'm so sorry about the mess. These gentlemen were misinformed about who's really in charge. Really like the style, though." Sarge told him that he didn't much care for his, and Joker laughed. "Ha ha ha! That's the spirit! But I can't help myself but leave without a souvenir." He gently pulls the gun away from Sarge, telling his men to be nice and clean up. And so, the war continues. This was not the first tragedy that Sarge will see, nor will it be the last. Tomorrow will likely bring more of the same, or maybe not. Who knows? And no matter what happens, Sarge knows where he'll be, right here at home. From the sky, Superman watches, seeing that things are much worse than he feared. Poor people have been cast off by their own government, huddled into submission by petty tyrants, but not anymore. After seeing the Mad Hatter attempting to take what little a man had, Superman stepped in. He stopped the Mad Hatter and he told the people that they can take back what is rightfully theirs. But as Superman helped one man up, he asked, "What does he do?" And the man asked, "Do?" These people were in such distress that they nearly forgot what they did before the earthquake. And the man tells Superman that he was an engineer, chief engineer at a power plant. And that's when Superman sees him, Batman. Batman asked what did he think he was doing. As Superman told him, "I came here to help, of course." Batman told him, "You need to leave. You're out of your element." However, Superman wouldn't leave. These people needed help and he was going to give it to them. Not him or anyone was going to stop him. Superman said to show that he was serious, and Batman smiled back, asking, "What makes you think I can't stop you?" Superman paused for a moment. Batman is bluffing, isn't he? Batman reaches for something as Superman tenses up, but as Batman shows his hand, it has a batarang in it. He tells him, 24 hours. Do all the good you can. I'll be waiting right here when the time comes. As Batman leaves, Superman knows that he can prove that he can do this, that he can bring change, that he can save Gotham. He flies back down to the man from before and he smiles. And he tells him, I need your help. We're going to rebuild that power station and bring light back to Gotham. Within 4 hours, the once broken man has found a purpose. Working, sweating, fighting to win back the city. But as the man tightens the last bolt, he says that should do it. As Superman dusts off a hard hat stating, I found this. Pretty sure it belongs to you. The man puts it on and it reads Chief Engineer. He says thank you, and he throws the switch. The lights slowly begin to flicker on, and after a few moments, they begin to fade. The engineer checks the system, stating that this doesn't make any sense. Everything is working fine. There must be something interfering with the line coming in. Superman rushes to find the source of the problem, to find what he missed. And what he did miss was that there are other people inside of the power plant. Superman sees the problem. It's Mr. Freeze, because those with power control the city, and Mr. Freeze won't have that. Inside, the large men with guns surround the engineer, asking, So what do you do? The engineer stares in disbelief, and the men tell him that he's the man with the power. So what does he want them to do? The engineer tries to tell him that he doesn't want anything, but just then a man stumbles in, running over to him, begging him to please hook him up first. As the engineer tries to explain that he'll get to everyone, another man pushes forward, stating that he just wants him to hook him up first, or he'll knock his head in. The group of armed men begin to see this, and they step in, grabbing the threatening man, telling the engineer, It's okay, boss, we got this. The armed men then begin to have everyone get in line so that they can offer tribute. But as Superman returns, he sees what things have become. He flies down asking, What is going on? These people, you have it all wrong. Make them understand it doesn't work like this. And the engineer tells him, How? Superman looks back at the crowd of people and they all push through him to offer what they can to be the first to have their power restored. With a heavy sigh, Superman flies up to the tower to meet Batman and he tells him, You're right. I don't understand the people. These people, they're not ready. And Batman tells him, Took me longer to figure that out myself. So Superman then asks, How are you going to do it? How are you going to bring Gotham back? And Batman tells him, I'm not sure, but I'll find a way. I hope. As a man takes a wooden plank and he begins to beat another, he shouts that I will teach him for messing with him. We don't deserve to live. Committing such crimes in certain areas will bring on the eyes of those who control it, and in this case, it's Batman. Batman tells the man to freeze, but like most criminals, he runs away. Without giving much resistance, Batman captures the man and says, Okay, you got me. Gonna take me to Blackgate? Guess a murderer like me deserves to go there. But then Batman pauses. Something's wrong. The brazines of the crime. The ease at which he took them down, the chatty demeanor. He turns back and checks the body and he asks, What game are you playing at? Rigor mortis has set in. This person has been dead for at least 3 days. He spins back, grabbing the man, shouting, You didn't kill him, did you? And the man shouts, No, I didn't. I just found him and dragged him out. I was just trying to get sent to Blackgate. Everyone knows that it's safe there. Batman unties the man's restraints and the man says, Wait, I'm not going to prison? What kind of hero are you? The people need you and you're just leaving. Why do all the murderers get the breaks? If I die, it'll be on your hands, Batman. But as Batman leaves, he thinks, could the man be right? This sort of thing has never happened before. As he tries to make sense of it, he almost misses the message left by Batgirl on where they're meeting. Just then he hears the sounds of a crying baby and he turns to follow those cries. He finds 2 women fighting over the baby. One yells to the other one that she left the baby alone, while the other one yells that she tried to steal the baby. Batman jumps down, picking up the baby, asking, Who does this child belong to? Neither woman answer. And the first shouts that she should have him because she's the better mother. That's child endangerment. And the second yells that she had him first. That woman is a kidnapper. She can't be a mother. Kidnapping is against the law. As the two explain their case, Batman tells them that they're both right. But you're also both wrong. Because of that, I will take the child and neither of you will have him. Batman leaves to the meeting place, but as Batgirl arrives, she asks, Whose baby is that? Batman doesn't answer, and she says, Right, won't ask. Anyway, I ran into our mutual friend the other night. Jim asked me to give you a message. Stay away. You're not welcome in GCPD territory. Batgirl then asks, Why would he say that? But when Batman doesn't answer, she says, Right. Just thought you'd like to know. Later, as Batman returns home, Alfred senses that Batman is distracted and asks, "What's the matter?" Batman steps out of the shower telling him, "It's nothing." And Alfred tells him, "I beg to differ. You put your shirt on inside out. A rare occurrence to say the least." Batman sighs as he sits down, stating, "It's confusion. I'm not sure what I'm doing anymore. Even Gordon doesn't want me around. I swore an oath to fight for justice. I'm not so sure that I can keep that oath. If I even can, what good is an oath that tears us apart?" Alfred finishes changing the baby and he tells him, "You remind me of your father. Sit down and take off the mask." Because a story of Dr. Thomas Wayne should be told to his son. As a community service, Thomas would work 3 nights a week in a clinic in Burnley. One of those nights, there was an emergency and the prognosis was grim. A boy needed a very specific drug immediately if he was going to have a chance of survival. But the nearest hospital was far away. There was a pharmacy around the corner that had the drug, but it was closed for the night. Thomas had taken an oath to do all that he could to help those that were sick, but did that include breaking and entering, stealing? Thomas made his decision. He threw a brick through the window and found the drug. However, the child died regardless. Thomas returned to the store and left a note explaining what happened. His intentions were good. Despite the outcome, surely the owner would understand. But the next day, Thomas received a call from the store owner. He says what he did was fine, but because of that, the store was robbed. Now he would go to the police and the matter would go public, or Thomas would have to pay the man the amount and they could keep the matter to themselves. Thomas was a trusting man and he agreed to pay, but the store owner, he saw a sign of weakness. He would call Thomas and demand more and more money, and each time Thomas would pay. He did this to keep the embarrassment of what he did out of public view. One day Thomas took a shower and put his shirt on inside out, claiming that he just had a lot on his mind. So as a concerned butler, Alfred followed Thomas one night when he went to go pay the store owner. Alfred told Thomas that he wasn't the criminal here, the store owner was. Perhaps they could work something out. So the next day, Thomas went to the store owner while he was working, and he told him that he wasn't going to pay him any more money. The owner said fine, they would just call the police. But that's when Alfred, dressed as a police officer, came in, and Thomas told the owner that he already brought one. As it would turn out, the store owner forged Thomas's name on the note to blackmail him. Thomas decided to have the store owner arrested in front of his customers. The store owner says, There must be a misunderstanding, and handed Thomas the note. Alfred finished the story stating that in that space of a month, his father had committed vandalism, breaking and entering, and theft. He did all of this to uphold his Hippocratic oath, the oath that he had sworn before God, the oath that was tearing him apart. And later, Batman returns to the spot where they took the baby and sees the 2 women still there. He asks them what would they each do to keep the baby, and both women said that they would do anything. So then Batman says, "It's decided. You're both responsible for the child." They both shout that neither could trust the other one, and Batman says, "You said you would do anything, and anything means working together for the good of the child. Because in this place, a baby needs 2 parents, not 1. When one is looking for food, the other is to care for the child. Agreed?" The women look at each other and they say, "Okay. Swear to me, make an oath, as God is your witnesses. May you burn in hell if you break it." They both place their hand on Batman's, and Batman hands the child over, as the women introduce themselves to each other. One watches Batman leave, stating that he doesn't know much about babies, but he sure does know something about people. And there you go, we've concluded the first volume of No Man's Land. Now, I know that this series has had a rocky history here at Comicstorian. We don't know where to put it, we didn't know where to fit it into the schedule, we didn't know what we were really doing with it, and it wasn't getting the greatest of views, but I've always wanted to complete it for you guys because I don't like leaving stories 100% hanging. I don't like leaving them in the middle of nothing. So if possible, I do want to work on completions, and we are going to be trying to bring you No Man's Land. Now, this has been out on our Patreon for a very long time, and if you want to get early access to some of our lower performing series like this and Spider-Gwen and stuff like that, then consider going to our Patreon, where for only $2 you get early access to our videos, and you can also get it right here at YouTube as a part of the memberships, early access to our videos. Basically, we create the videos, put it out on YouTube memberships and Patreon, and then when we have room in the schedule, we put it out in the main YouTube schedule. So you will get it here no matter what, and just watching the video helps support us, and we appreciate that. Anyway, thank you guys for your time right here. And if you want more Batman No Man's Land, make sure you say so in the comments down below and hit me up on Twitter at Comicstorian and tell me, Benny, I want more No Man's Land. You brought it back. You gave me a taste. Give me more. And I'll do just that. Either way, I'll see you guys next time right here.